Every once in a while here in the Midwest of the U.S., you run across these double-link chains, and they fascinate me, how the old-time blacksmiths made them. And whenever I replicate anything, I like to find out as much history as I can about it. These top four chains are the ones I've got at flea markets and stuff. This one here is the one I made. I studied the others, and I learned the process, and I made this short chain. I didn't make a full-length chain because I learned the process, and it's so time-consuming, I decided to stop there. I knew how to do it. This chain here, this chain, the lengths, the stock diameter is 1/4 inch diameter. This one here is a lighter chain, and it's 5/16 diameter. Now my chain I made is 16.5 inches long. This one here is 25.5 inches, and it is stamped Cleveland on the end, so it must have been made in a factory, a blacksmith factory, where the blacksmiths made things and sold them. These others are strictly probably Rural Smith or something made them at the local town. This one's 25.5 inches long, this one's 26, and this one's 30. 28 inches long. These ends here are what back in the early 1900s they's called toggles. They go into a ring and they catch and they won't slip out. You don't hardly see them anymore like that. But it's a quick way of fastening things. There might be other terminology they use. Different areas people call things different things. I was asking about these chains, and I talked to a smith in the UK, Bruce Wilcott, and he said all trace and back chains were pulled too as they settled them in. This was done cold, and I think the trace chains were stretched as a pair. On trace chains, they're probably longer, but they were stretched to get the stiffness out in their hand before they started using them. Women did a lot of this working horse chain making in their houses, and chains for lead horses were lighter and heavier on the horses near the load. I also found this out on the military here in the U.S. On the heavy artillery carts and stuff. They used heavier chains near the load. Now I called these trace chains originally, but I'm beginning to, I don't know whether that's the right terminology or not, and I don't think they're trace chains. I've got, when I was at the state fair demonstrating, I've asked people at the auction people, they handle auction, and they didn't know what, well, I took one of the chains over and they didn't know what it was for. Took it over to wheelwright shop, and the wheelwright guy, he said it goes on the yoke. I got on a Teamster's website, and I asked the question what they were. Didn't show them a picture or nothing, but I asked them, and they said I had 4 or 5 different answers, so, you know, it's a big guess is what they really were, because no one came up with the same answer. One guy said the loggers used them to when they hooked on the log, where they had to double up on the log to get it up out of there. Another logger, they said when they didn't use check reins, they just used the horses by voice command, and when they did that, they tied the horses together, and this went into one ring on the breast collar harness, and then to the other ring. And I asked them how come it was twisted, and that's so it would slide easier through the yoke ring, snap ring. Another guy said that they use them for all kinds of different. I had all kinds of different answers. I'm still not sure exactly what they was used for. I'd like to find out though. But I like a challenge, and I admire how the old-time blacksmiths made stuff like this here, and the forge welding and everything was really good. Now these chains here, they show a lot of wear, so I don't a lot of snapping and everything, snatching and stuff. Now you see these here, these are wore real thin. As a matter of fact, there's some links missing there. This one here is twisted tighter. It's not much wear on that one. This one here, just one made in the factory. It's not got much wear either. Right on the end links it does some. This one here shows some wear. Right on the ends and certain areas too. Now, if you don't twist them right, you're going to get more wear in the areas that's grabbing the hold, and the other links are not grabbing as much. So stretching the code makes a lot of sense, and I don't know how you'd stretch one of these double link chains code, but who knows. Now these chains, everything made, the same process is used from here to here, but on the ends here, from here, this part here, it's made different. I found 2 or 3 different processes that they use, and on my next video, I'm going to show you how I made this chain and the process I use. I use 2 different processes, and it's a tedious job forge welding these together because you can burn the piece up real easy. It's a challenge. I like challenges, and I had a lot of fun doing it, but I don't think I want to do another one. And I did write down how I did it and everything, and at least now that people know how these things were made. The old-time blacksmiths didn't do this stuff. They didn't have time. They made a living, and they had to work hard all day long. And some of them kept records. I got a record of a blacksmith back in the 1840s. He kept a record for his customers' accounts, but he didn't record how he did things. And you know, they didn't do that stuff back then. Now blacksmiths are sharing with each other, and there's a lot of information out there. All you got to do is research. There's clubs that you can join, different aspects of blacksmithing. To me, I enjoy the rural farm and home stuff. I've always dealt with antiques and stuff like that there, and any time I see something unusual, I'll buy it, or I'll take pictures of it, or take a sketch of it. I'll take it home, and when I got time, I'll replicate it. Thanks, Smith. You can see how thin they are, wore down. Anything I replicate, I try to find out as much history as I can on them. I really admire the old-time blacksmiths that made these chains.